When Jesus came for the first time, God gave us the exact timing. This wasn't vague or symbolic. He gave us an exact prophetic calendar. Daniel's prophecy of the 70 weeks, Daniel chapter 9 spelled it out to the very year and even to the very day. From the decree of the king to rebuild Jerusalem in 457 BC, 483 prophetic years were set in motion, and so that's 69 weeks of years. And so those years led precisely to Nisan 10 in 30 AD, the exact day in which Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, fulfilling Zechariah chapter 9 verse 9. When the crowd shouted, "Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord," on what we call Palm Sunday. And so just as Daniel prophesied, a few years later, the Messiah, Jesus, the Mashiach, was cut off, he was crucified, and so prophecy fulfilled to the very exact letter, down to the very day. And also, for Jesus' second coming, God gave us timing again. Revelation tells us plainly exactly when that will occur. At the end of the 7-year tribulation period, when the nations gather against Israel, the heavens will open, and Jesus will return in glory with his saints. So this is precise, it's measurable, and it's counted just like the first coming. But the rapture, no date is given, no countdown, nothing that we can calculate with certainty. And so Jesus actually explained to us why this is. It's the exact same reason that he spoke in parables and why the gospel is hidden. Matthew 13, 10 through 11, the disciples asked him, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?" And he answered, "Because it has been given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given." And also, Mark 4, 11 through 12, he said to his disciples, "To you it has been given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God, but to those who are outside, all things come in parables, so that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest they should turn and their sins be forgiven them." And also, Matthew 24, 43, Jesus says, "If the master of the house had known what hour that the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into." Paul also repeats the same exact warning, 1 Thessalonians 5:2. "For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night." The rapture is hidden like a thief in the night, not random. It's hidden so that only the faithful, those awake, those who are sober, those who are watching, will be ready when it happens. And here's an even more sobering truth. Jesus also tells us, Matthew 24, 40 through 41, "Two will be in the field, one will be taken and the other left. Two women grinding at the mill, one taken and the other left." Luke 17, 34, he also adds, "I tell you, in the night there will be two men in one bed, one will be taken and the other will be left." And so that is half, or maybe even less, 50%. 50% prepared, 50% unprepared. Half are ready to go with the bridegroom, and half left behind to face judgment. And to emphasize this reality, Jesus also gives us the parable of the 10 virgins in Matthew 25. All 10 of them are waiting for the bridegroom. All 10 looks like they belong. Only 5 of them were wise enough to bring oil in their lamps, representing the spirit-filled, obedient, faithful believers and Christians. And so the other 5 were foolish. They were unprepared. They were without oil, symbolizing those with no true relationship with Jesus. And so when the bridegroom came suddenly at midnight, 5 of them went and the other 5 were left, half ready, half of them not. And so this is consistent with Jesus' other warnings. Also in Matthew 7, 13, 14. And he says, "Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, that there may be many who go in by it, because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it." And so the way of salvation has always been for the remnant, a faithful few among the many. Noah and his family among a whole generation. Lot and his daughters fleeing Sodom. Israel and Egypt. Only those with the blood on the doorpost were spared. And so in the end, Jesus says the same pattern will hold true. So the question isn't when will it happen? The question is, will you be ready when it does? Because when the trumpet sounds, there will be no more second chances. When Jesus came for the first time, God gave us the exact timing. This wasn't